What is the most obvious lie you have ever been told? When a coworker told my own story back to me as his own. Twice. I had a friend do this once. He was hanging out with a large group of my friends that he hardly knew, and my best friend, still my best friend to love, that peeper just went, "Wow, it's so crazy you had verbatim the exact same childhood story that Jason has told us all before. Right down to the small town in Kansas where it happened, and the color drained straight out of his face. Didn't say a word to me for like 3 days. Dude turned out to be a pathological liar on many levels. Very strange to think how I spent 4 years of high school with someone lying straight to my face constantly and didn't realize it until that moment. My first watch was an Omega and I saved up on high school to get it. One of my good friends back then asked to wear it for one period and would give it back at lunch. He begged and begged, so as a HS kid I gave in, or couldn't keep saying no, I guess. Weak on me, obviously. Well, he smashed it, apparently smashed the glass, to test it, gave it back, and said it was a fake, and that's why the glass cracked, and said he didn't do it and it just fell apart. Ash Peep became a medical doctor and is now involved in politics and holds state office. I'm still pissed about the watch he never admitted he broke cause he was salty and jealous. Peep head then. Peep head now. I speak French, though I'm losing it from lack of use. But one of my college guy friends started dating a girl from France. He was all excited because she could talk to me in her native language and I could help translate. So he brought her to a party at my sorority house and introduced us. I greeted her in French with a very simple bonjour, bienvenue, comment of va, which is just hi, welcome, how are you? Blank stare and red face in response. She then said, in what I thought was a kind of strange accent, that she's sorry, she didn't understand me. I looked at the guy and said, I thought you told me she was French? Because maybe she was a different nationality, and he was confused. He looked at her and she just turned and left. He followed, then returned a bit later and said he had caught up to her, and she started screaming at him in perfect Midwestern accented English that he was a jerk for setting her up to look like a fool. He had genuinely been excited that he could introduce her to someone she could talk to, so he was blown away by her accusations and then angry that she lied. She apparently felt faking an accent would make her more appealing or something. I would see her around on campus after that, but she avoided me like the plague. TBH. I felt bad for her. But if you're going to fake it, at least pick a country with a language you can speak. When I was a kid, the internet wasn't a thing, so my friends were whoever happened to live in the neighborhood. One kid was a well-known liar and exaggerator. We were maybe 14 years old at this time. This kid could play guitar and was always talking himself up about it and talking about his band. He actually could play, but his band did not exist. One day, I called him at his house. From my house. I don't remember what it was about, but a few minutes into the conversation, told me, by the way, I'm in Florida with my band. Just out of the blue. This was before even pages were a common thing. I called him. At his house. I just said something like, okay, and ended the conversation. I then proceeded to tell all the other kids in the neighborhood. When I was a public defender, my dipspeep client called up his victim from the jail phone the night before his trial. He said kill repeatedly in an attempt to intimidate her. When I was telling him how stupid this was, his excuse was that he was watching Kill Bill and someone changed the channel on the cell block communal TV. That dumbass is now doing 28 years in prison. My friend told me that getting a Peloton changed her life. I looked up her workout stats, and she had used it 4 times in 5 months of owning it. Her husband fared a little better with using it 9 times. Don't know why this annoyed me so much. My little girl told everyone in the supermarket that our cat died, and she was sad. We don't own a cat. Well, not anymore. In 5th grade, a friend of ours used to try to convince us he used to hang out with the band Sublime. Among other stuff, he said that he was the person featured on the cover of their self-titled album, and he used to do drugs with them, and even tried heroin once. We were 11 years old, and he claimed this all happened 2 years before he even moved to our school. So yeah, a 9-year-old did all this wild speep. We constantly called bull speep, but he would just continue to lie and make up more stuff. We stopped hanging out with him because he was so full of speep. My mom, after 11-year-old me accidentally destroyed her favorite vase by throwing my brother's stuffed animals around the living room. I'm not mad. Used to have a friend that spewed bull speep all the time. Told me her bio parents, who lived together, were divorced and seeing other people. And also that she had 25 siblings. Brought it up to her mom one time, which was an interesting conversation. She also told us she had cancer, and then a week later it was miraculously cured. We are not playing favorites. Was told I needed to buy my own car as a teen and I did. Following year my baby bro was given a free car. He's 15 more younger, is now 56, still living at home. Ugh. My sister had her car and college pretty much paid for. I was basically told to kick rocks. In high school a buddy told me that he didn't steal our other buddy's watch. He was wearing the watch when I asked him about it. Long-term borrowing. He'll give it back some say, I'm sure. A childhood friend and I met up for coffee one day after not meeting for a few years. He casually let it slip that ever since he earned a black belt he has had to register with the state as a human weapon. My hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means we get into a fight. I accidentally kill you. I go to jail. Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter. I never said you had to sign the document if it wasn't true. Says the person with 3 mls telling me to sign a document, even after I said it wasn't true, sitting on her outbox. I was given a blank lease from a realtor, and he told me to sign it. Nope. By blank I meant a standard Ontario lease with nothing filled in. When my friend was an infant, her mother put a 2-year-old sibling in her crib while the mom left the room briefly. When mom came back, my friend was crying and had teeth marks on her forehead. When mom asked the older sibling what happened, she calmly said she bit herself. Any lieutenant saying that the platoon can go home early on a Friday if you work hard right now. Just about anything a lieutenant says should be run by the captain first. Unless the lieutenant says, I don't know, in which case he's probably right and is probably prior enlisted as well. We cannot give you a raise right now, but we will compensate you as soon as the budget allows. Turns out when the budget allows is when you already have another job offer and put in your 2 weeks notice. I was told by a senior employee, not my manager, but technically a step above them, that my best bet for moving up in the company would be to leave and come back in 3 years. I can finish this 104 game tonight. One does not simply finish a 104 game. As a tax accountant, I'm told lies about how much money people actually made all the time during tax season. My favorite was a guy telling me he's broke because he only makes $35,000/year in New York City, so my very reasonable fee is too much for him. He says this after he asks me if he can deduct the new BMW 5 Series he just bought his son all cash. It isn't just the lie, but the added insult of such a bad lie told to one's face that is so galling. Had another client last week tell me he doesn't have any money to live cause of the pandemic. He bought a $750,000 condo in Greece as a vacation home a couple months ago. It's like these people forget that our job is literally to track what they do with their money. The company is in a great shape, so don't pay any attention to rumors about financial trouble. Have been there. Don't worry, the order book is full. We are in great shape. 1 week later I'm made redundant and 2 weeks later the company folded. When my little brother mixed like 50 condiments, including sprinkles, ketchup, cereal and stuff, into a bag of popcorn and ate it, telling us it was delicious when his face looked like he'd just ate 10 extremely sour warheads at once. He later admitted he just wanted us to eat it, but we never did. One time my little brother tried to make me a sandwich just to be nice, but said sandwich was just chocolate chips cookies covered in mustard between 2 pieces of bread. He clearly wanted to see how I'd react, and I of course refused to eat it. He told our mom I was being rude, and the worst part was, after she actually saw the sandwich she still said I was supposed to humor him. I just threw it away and told both no. My ex told me he was in a car accident, totaled his car, broke a few ribs. He was trying to get sympathy so I would get back together with him, blaming the accident on me since he was distracted after the breakup. He sent me a photo of his car smashed in. I Google searched it. First pic of his make/model that was wrecked. He formulated the story after the picture. But here's the deal. The wheels didn't match. So I drove by his house that evening. Car was fixed and in his driveway. Oh yes, I paid the shop extra to get me in today. So I could have my car to come see you if you wanted me to. Haha bro. I did brush my teeth, I swear. This toothbrush. Bone dry. So we agree that this is your toothbrush? Dad, I did not lie. I said that I brushed my teeth. I never specified that I brushed my teeth tonight. And if the court reporter reads back my remarks, you will see that I did not perjure myself. My brother told me I was a dragon and I totally believed him. Man, I was a dumb kid, but now I'm a dumb adult. Loyalty to a company would be repaid. When I was a teenager I worked at a grocery store, which went under and was in the process of being bought by a new one. We were told during this process that our loyalty would be rewarded and would all get to keep our jobs and whatnot. I hated that job anyway and ditched it for a different one. But it turns out that after about a week or so they just fired everyone and sold it to a bigger grocery chain. Loyalty cards only last for one turn. You misunderstand. We never said anything about our loyalty. We will keep your resume on hand and let you know if any other positions open up. As a recent graduate job searching, it hurts. I was picking up a sofa from a guy I found on Kijiji, and he stopped me right before leaving to see if I wanted to buy a mirror he was also looking to get rid of. I wasn't really interested, but my wife seemed keen, so we stopped in the hallway to check it out. He said it was a gift from my son-in-law. It's a beautiful mid-century antique. I'll let it go for $75. He went on about what an amazing mirror it was, and even told me pick it up and feel how sturdy it is. I picked it up, it was really heavy actually, and took a peek at the back and saw a sticker from Value Village with a $30 price tag. I kinda chuckled to myself and asked if he would go any lower than $75. He said I really couldn't. Then I said, well, I can see a tag from Value Village on the back here. We ended up getting the mid-century antique mirror for $15 and me and my wife still laugh about the amazing deal we got on it. It wasn't me. Honey came in and she caught me red-handed, creeping with the girl next door. Picture this, we were both but naked banging on the bathroom floor. How could I forget that I had given her an extra key? Used to play D&D with a pathological liar. Side note, he had the most incredible luck with natural 20 rolls. Another thing about this guy is he always tried to act like a macho tough guy too who had been in serious scrapes and such. So one time, unprompted, he said under his breath, but obviously wanting us to hear, "I've got to get this shrapnel out of me." We were just like, "Sure man, whatever you need to do." An ex-housemate was the most chronic liar I've ever met. She was also a total nutjob who stole from all the housemates and from her workplace and keyed my car, but here are some of her most memorable lies. Her dad was the ex-CEO of the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. She was having an affair with one of the shift managers at the bar we worked at. He was engaged to someone else. The venue manager tried to peepily assault her. Security from our work knew about it, but kept it quiet at her request. She pointed at a wedding ad on a bus, couldn't see the model's face, and said the model was her. There was a car accident in the area that killed several teenagers. She claimed that she was with them that night, but got out of the car just before the accident. That she could do a bond clean by herself, the clean, to get your rental deposit back. Yeah, we had to go back and do it. She didn't do anything. That her dad was verbally abusive, her sister said he never was. She had her license to be a shift manager, was a legal QLD requirement at the time in liquor venues. But she didn't want to tell our workplace cause they would promote her, and she didn't want that responsibility. I had a friend in college who was a serial liar. Just all kinds of crazy things that must have satisfied some psychological need. All of it harmless. He told me he developed a theory on how to bend light passing through air and pitched the idea to the physics department, which set up an experiment and proved his theory to be true. He was a general studies major. I kept pressing him, well, which professor was it? How did the experiment work? Etc. Just kept digging deeper and changing the subject. My coworker once tried to convince me that centaurs exist. She said they lived in a gated community in Hollywood and did all the horse stunts for movies. Did we both know it was a lie? Yes. Did she ever admit it was? No, and I admire that about her. My son takes every opportunity to get naked. It's a struggle to get him to even wear underpants half the time. We found him sat around naked one time and asked him where his pants had gone. Bees came in through the window and stole his pants. Lying little speep. Everyone knows that it's gnomes who steal underwear. Your call is important to us. Listen carefully as our options have recently changed. May. That's the real kicker. They know they are lying, but they are on autopilot. I did not feed your dog any human food, my mom, while my dog pukes and speeps all over my house.